We begin the bulletin with the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak from the Ghana Health Service. Now, as of the morning of 26th March 2020, a total of 54 cases, including 3 deaths, had been confirmed from regular surveillance systems. All the 3 cases that unfortunately succumbed to the disease were aged and had underlying chronic medical conditions. All the other 51 cases are well. 14 cases are being managed at home, and the rest are responding well to treatment on admission in isolation. They are awaiting test results and will be discharged when the results are negative. The great majority of the confirmed cases are Ghanaians who are returning home from affected countries. 7 of other nationals, namely Norway, Lebanon, China, Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. The number of confirmed cases among travelers under mandatory quarantine who have tested positive, is 78. Now, in respect of contact tracing, a total of 970 contacts have been identified and are being tracked. Out of these, 204 have completed the 14 days mandatory follow-up. Now, some doctors and nurses at the Tamale Teaching Hospital have been asked to self-isolate after they came into contact with a suspected COVID-19 case. The woman was referred from the Wali Hospital to the Tamale Teaching Hospital with difficulty in breathing and a high fever, but she passed on at TTH. Samples have been taken for testing, and correspondent Martina Bugri joins us with details. Martina, what more do we know about this case? Right, Martina, we want to know what more information we have on this woman who passed at the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
What we do know is that she was brought in from the Wali Polyclinic. We are told that she had given birth, she had difficulty in breathing and a high fever, and so she was brought in. She had come into contact with some health officials, and so they were asked to self-quarantine while samples of the woman has been taken for testing. We are also told, my source tells me that there are other cases of suspected COVID-19 also in the hospital have taken some samples and they are testing. They are yet to get the results. He wouldn't be specific to tell me exactly how many people they are testing now, but what we do know is there are some cases that are under testing now from the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Now, these health personnel who are self-isolating, Martina, do we know if they are being supervised in any way? Do we know if, for instance, they are being surveilled to ensure that they stay indoors?
What I was told was that they've been asked to stay away, and they've been asked to stay away from their families as well, and they are being checked periodically.
Do we know how many they are?
There won't be specifics.
Right, Martina, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Martina Bugri with the latest on this from the northern region. Stay with this channel for more details. Now, the Techiman Divisional Police Command has arrested a 37-year-old man for manufacturing suspected fake hand sanitizers, which are currently in huge demand in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. The police, upon a tip-off, arrested 4 sales girls who led the patrol team to the home of the manufacturer. The police recovered hundreds of bottles of the supposed sanitizers, which were labeled Mama Doro hand sanitizers. There's more in the following report by Anna Sabit.
Ghana as a country is witnessing a scarcity of hand sanitizers amid the COVID-19 outbreak. A fake hand sanitizer manufacturing unit was busted Wednesday afternoon in Mongra Line, a suburb of Techiman. Acting upon a tip-off, the operations team of the Techiman Divisional Police Command raided the duplicate hand sanitizer unit and recovered the alleged fake products. Chief Superintendent Ohinibody Bosman is the Techiman Divisional Police Commander.
This afternoon around 12:30 p.m., we had information that a young man called Opoku Abebiu, alias Dr. Mina, in Techiman, is going around and selling hand sanitizer. So we sent some police officers in plain clothes to go and buy some. They went, bought it, and brought it. When we examined it, we saw that the hand sanitizer was fake one. So we decided to arrest those sales girls. So we went to the house of the manufacturer. When we went and conducted a search in the room, we found so many herbal products, including the so-called hand sanitizer that he's selling to the public. You could see that this one is a dirty water he had just mixed with some soap. And this one too is another one he's made with some toffee. And he called these ones as hand sanitizers.
The accused, together with his wife, who are into the manufacturing of other herbal products, ventured into this without following standards set by the Food and Drugs Authority.
We also conducted further checks in the room that we saw other products like Dr. Mina Savior Water, which he claimed to be. It cures so many diseases, hypertension, diabetes, what have you. Then this one too, a mouthwash called Dr. Mina mouthwash. Then this one is Dr. Mina Mira capsules, which he claimed to be a manpower for men who have sexual weakness.
Now, related to this, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union will meet the president on Friday towards finding a solution to the COVID-19 spread. This follows concerns raised about congestion in the public transport system. According to experts, social distancing is an important practice to end the spread of the virus. Chairman of the GPRTU, Kwame Kuma, spoke on PM Express Wednesday evening.
We are going to meet on Friday, meet the minister and discuss and finalize it. So, to refresh the meeting on Friday before we will come out for everybody to know what we are doing. As we met with the president and we have discussed a lot of things. So we are meeting the ministry on Friday, all the stakeholders. So after the Friday meeting, we will come out with a communicate for everybody to hear what is.
How did the meeting with the president go?
About the coronavirus, how you try and manage and make sure that the sickness won't be a distance. So, President asked everybody to bring a view for everybody to should bring his view for us to discuss about it. So, all the operators, everybody come on board. So we discuss it and we will conclude it on Friday. We are going to meet the ministry, and from there we will come out with the communique for everybody to know what we discuss about.
Give me
about the sitting the sitting arrangement and everything. We will discuss it and come out on Friday. So the coronavirus is a serious issue. Everybody is thinking about it, and we have put measures. If you go to the station, make sure that you meet. Everybody should have a bucket with a tap and the soap and the tissue for the passenger to clean their hand before joining the car, and then sanitizer also for them to clean their hands. And we pleaded with the car owners also to try and buy some of the sanitizer for the drivers to put their car inside if somebody is joining the roadside, so they can give it to him to clean his hand.
But a transport consultant, Dr. Godfred Achiadakwa, is urging government to lock down. He says if the social distancing as being prescribed by the experts is anything to go by, then government must reduce fuel prices drastically to aid transport operators.
Our health experts are asking us to leave 1 meter distance, spacing. Now, when you talk about 1 meter is just from the tip here to my shoulder here.
Yeah.
Look at it. So when you look at the width of the bus, it means only 2 people can sit on the 5-seat round, and then the 13 seats for that the diameter, they have 13 seat arrangements. Now, for us to maintain 1 meter distance, that means that we have to have 9 seats instead of 13. So for 13 times 2 people into a seat, that means that a bus that can take about 65 is now going to take about 9 times 2, 18.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean,
for us to qualify for the expected social distancing that we are all talking about.
But this is interesting. So this is a typical U-turn bus.
Yes, typical
so
U-turn
you
bus.
say, just repeat the numbers again. Bus that would normally take
65.
Will take now 18.
It should be 9.
Just so we can comply with the directive.
1 meter distance.
Okay.
Now, if you reduce it to meet the social distancing that we're talking about, to prevent this pandemic, that means that they have to be at loss. And they cannot be at loss. That's where government has to come in. So how can government do? You can say that I'm reducing fuel price by 50% for commercial vehicles so that they can commute if there's not going to be lockdown. Okay? So if they're going to reduce the fuel prices, that means that they can make do, because the fuel is the main component that is into their profits. The best option to solve this problem, if you want to talk about the spread and transportation, it is not only even by the long chassis buses, but let's talk about the taxis too.
Goodness me, we haven't even talked about that.
The taxis are there, and look at the taxis. These multis, the smaller ones, the driver picks about 4 people, or 3 people. The bus is choked, and that particular bus, a small taxi, can pick only 1 more. So for me, the best way is that if there's going to be a permanent lockdown for 2 weeks, no movement at all, just give about 2 days, 3 days notice where people should do their shopping. We have to close down the country completely for 2 weeks.
So people won't use transport at all?
No transport at all.
But that would mean the transport operators will take a hit anyway, because they won't have any passengers.
It's going to affect everybody. Nobody is affected except those who are doing the essential services. And then again, people who have their own vehicles, that one-on-one vehicle, like you can drive to work, and those, that you can leave you to drive. But to allow the taxis to work, the trotros to work, and the long distance buses to work, it is going to amount to huge spreading of the risk.
Now, an Accra High Court has granted a request by Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Adame to have it hear an injunction case against the National Identification Authority earlier than usual. The case was slated to be heard on April 9. Now, the court has now set Friday, March 27 as a day to hear the matter. 2 citizens, Mark Oliver Kevo and Emmanuel Okra, filed a case in court asking that the NIA be stopped from carrying out its registration exercise. They maintain the exercise is contrary to the social distancing directives issued by President Akufo-Addo in the wake of the COVID-19 cases recorded in Ghana. Court correspondent Joseph Akable was in court as this matter was heard. He joins us with more. Joseph, tell us the basis for the Deputy AG's push for the matter to be heard early.
A number of points were advanced, the first being that the action that is currently being undertaken by the NIA is an important statutory function of a public body set up under the laws of Ghana. He also makes the point that it's in the national interest that this matter is determined expeditiously. And finally, the point was made that in the circumstances, equity and justice require that this honorable court exercise its power under the rules of court to abridge the date for hearing of this particular application. And so he urged the courts to grant their request. It was opposed by the lawyers for the 2 citizens who made the point that per the rules of the court, the application asking that the court hears the matter early should have been filed and they given 3-day notice before that happened. But they said currently with the hearing that took place today, they didn't have that 3-day notice, Daniel.
Now, we understand the court had some concerns about the fact that the persons who had dragged the NIA to court did not want the matter heard immediately.
Justice Anthony Opon, who is a Court of Appeal judge sitting as an additional High Court judge, made a point that he finds it paradoxical that the very people who have filed the case and also proceeded to file for injunction, will be opposing a request that would ensure that the case is determined expeditiously. And so he says that is a paradox. But that notwithstanding, he admitted that indeed the AG's application did not meet the three-day requirement. But nonetheless, he says the court reserves the right to correct it as if a request has been made by the court to consider it that it was filed within the 3 days that was required. And so he proceeded to deal with it as if it was filed appropriately and said that the matter should be dealt with expeditiously. And so he fixed tomorrow to continue hearing the case. After the NIA legal team had made an appearance for the first time, and they've also filed some documents which the lawyers for the two students say they do not have access to and they've not read through. And so they want to go through those documents before tomorrow for the particular matter to be heard.
A few quick issues, Joseph. Do we know who the NIA's lawyers are?
The NIA is represented by Kweku Esiefi. He is a legal practitioner at the law firm Akufo-Addo Prempeh and Company. And he, per documents that we've seen that have been filed in court, was appointed as the NIA solicitor for this particular case on March 23. But he made his first appearance in court this morning, Daniel.
And finally, Joseph, the NIA itself has put out a statement saying that this particular registration exercise has been put on hold. Is that not going to make any bearing in this case?
It is. In fact, the documents that they filed in this particular case pair what the lawyer said in open court, because the point the lawyer sought to make was that the case could proceed since their documents are no different from what the AG had filed. The lawyer made a point that there are some additional material facts relating to how the NIA was carrying out the registration before it decided to put it on hold that are contained in what that's found. And so, by way of your question, in terms of the fact that the injunction has been granted and is on hold, that is in operation. But with regards to this particular application, the NIA is going out there to make arguments to represent how it was carrying out its registration before it was put on hold. And we expect arguments to be advanced about it sticking to personal hygiene and the social distancing that was announced by the president.
I get the sense, Joseph, that the NIA believes it's suspending the exercise because of this court case, and if they are successful, they can go back to the Eastern Region and register.
That is rightly so.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akable. He gave us some details to clarify that case some citizens are bringing against the National Identification Authority. Now, the Electoral Commission has officially suspended next month's voter registration exercise, citing concerns over the novel coronavirus pandemic, which is wreaking havoc across the globe. The April 18 exercise has proved quite controversial, with a number of opposition parties and civil society groups describing it as needless and costly. The decision to suspend the exercise was made after an inter-party advisory committee meeting on Wednesday. Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Srebo Kweku, told Joy News it is based on advice by health experts.
We had planned to do the registration on the 18th, right? But because of the pandemic, we can't do it on the 18th. So we are observing what is happening around Ghana and the global issue. We are with the Minister of Health and Ghana Health Services and other health experts. So they are also monitoring the situation and advising us. So when it gets to a time they think that the situation is fertile for us to go ahead with the registration, then they tell us, now you can do A, B, C. Then we implement them and go ahead and do it.
So for now, the 18th is on hold.
It's on hold. It's not, if it's on hold, means that...
Has it been suspended?
Suspended, it's suspended. So it can be 18th, yes. So what we are telling them is that we are thinking of going towards ending of April or early May, but depending on what the health experts will advise. From all the discussions that we have had, we are saying that there's no way we can use the existing register. So we are moving forward with the new register, and that's what we are preparing to.
Now, meanwhile, the principal PRO of the Electoral Commission, Sylvia Arnaud, says the postponement will not affect the EC's calendar, emphasizing the registration will come off. We get more details on the story in later bulletins. Now, government on Wednesday presented a check of nearly 100,000 Ghana cedis to settle the medical bills of victims of the Dumprase accident that claimed 34 lives. On Tuesday, January 14, two buses collided head-on, killing at least 34 persons and injuring about 54 others at Dumprase on the Cape Coast Takoradi stretch. Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, who led the government delegation at the time to visit victims of the accident, assured the medical bills of all the accident's victims of the car accident, including mortuary bills, would be settled by government. Richard Kojonyako has more.
Subsequent to the pledge by the president to absorb the medical bills of the victims of the accident, the chief executive officer of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital directed that monies earlier paid by some of the victims be refunded once they provided their receipt, while the hospital prepared a comprehensive report on patients, including all those who would need surgical implant for onward submission for reimbursement. Central Regional Minister Kwame Nadankan on Wednesday presented a check of 97,450 Ghana cedis to the management of the hospital on behalf of the president. According to the regional minister, government appreciates the role the hospital played to save the lives of the survivors of the accident. He assured government would do more to cover any other costs that might have been incurred by the hospital if it was brought to their attention.
I am here this afternoon to honor the pledge that His Excellency the President made to the CEO and the management of the hospital in that unfortunate period where the strength of the hospital was stretched to its limit. And so the request came that they needed to put all they had spent on paper and through my office to the office of the president. And when the president received it, he quickly instructed for resources to be put together. So last week, we got a call that the monies had been paid into the account of the Regional Coordinating Council.
CEO of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi-Njedu, thanked the government for honoring its pledge to the hospital. According to him, the hospital finds the redemption of the pledge by government inspirational.
Our inspiration was most at its highest level when we had the presidential pledge that we're going to be supported to be able to take care of these victims. So I would like to, on behalf of the clients, the relatives, and all those who were involved in this accident, express our profound and deepest appreciation and gratitude to the president for one, honoring his promise, and then for two, showing us an inspirational leadership which will inspire us to do even more for the people of the Republic of Ghana.
Many families lost their relatives and 2 children were orphaned when the Dompoase accident claimed 34 lives. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Let's take you to Jubilee House now, where President Akufo-Addo is meeting leadership of the Trade Union Congress over COVID-19 and concerns the union has raised about lockdown. Earlier this week, Dr. Yauba stated that government must lock down immediately if it's feasible. Elton John Brobe reports from the presidency, and he joins us on the line with more. Elton, tell us, what has the president said in response to the TUC's concerns?
Right, so the meeting is still ongoing, so that is the second part. The first part was the introductory part. The media was allowed in. Now they're in a closed-door session where they are discussing the contents of the TUC's position on this COVID-19 and what their demands of government are. Now, the issue of a lockdown came up even before the TUC went into this meeting. They issued a statement on March 23rd in which they asked government to look at the situation. If there is further spread, then there will be the need for a lockdown. Now, President Akufo-Addo has responded to this demand coming from the TUC, and indeed coming from the Ghana Medical Association and a cross-section of the public for the need that a lockdown will help deal with this matter. First, the president says that government is considering all options at the table, and a lockdown is also among some of the things that they are looking at. However, they are looking at the fact that a lockdown will most likely affect the working class of the country and the ordinary Ghanaian. And in the words of President Akufo-Addo, a responsible government looking at the implications of this before taking a decision. And so for this reason, government is looking at the conditions of our people, the circumstances they live, how a lockdown will impact on their lives, how a lockdown will impact on social life, and how a lockdown will impact on the economy of the country. Once they are satisfied with the outcome of some of these questions that they are asking themselves. Then they will communicate to the people of Ghana their decision on this. But as far as government response to the COVID-19 is concerned, they are constantly reviewing their strategies with the aim of bringing it and managing it effectively. Daniel.
Did he give any indication about how far along they are with this analysis that he described?
Well, from President Akufo-Addo, they are discussing this matter. Indeed, in this meeting is the Trade Minister, the National Security Minister, officials from the presidency, and according to the president, this particular matter has dominated almost all government engagement since the first outbreak. Now, a lockdown appears to be where we are now, whether we lock or we unlock. And for him, government has it firmly on the table and discussing it. An outcome will be communicated to the people of Ghana, possibly in the president's broadcasting election.
Thank you very much, Elton, for bringing us those details. We will bring you more from that meeting of the TUC and the presidency later in the day. Now, coming up in business, Marriott Hotel in Accra says it has no agreement with government to host quarantined persons.
Hotels that have been turned into quarantine zones, which, I mean, it's good, but for us, we are not one of them.
That's coming up next. Stay with us.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. 9 commercial banks, including some fintech operators, have been certified and are ready to provide services to the general public using the newly launched Universal QR Code and Proxy Pay system. The new payment system, according to Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Achihesi, is crucial in fighting the spread of coronavirus as it allows you to pay for goods and services using your mobile money account.
We are equally grateful to the board of GIPS, as well as our partners, the financial institutions and the telecom chamber. I don't like doing this, but when we were faced with a challenge just a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, to come out with a QR code, I was surprised how all the banks came up, rallied around us to support us along the journey. And we are grateful for EcoBank's support. And I'm very happy to say that as we speak, there are 9 banks who are ready to go live. I'm also grateful for the support of, if I'm allowed, given by Zenith Bank, Cal Bank, GCB, Fidelity. I know we're not allowed to do that. They've asked me to make mention of the fact that for us to recognize their Cal Bank and I think there are nine banks. If I've forgotten, maybe I shouldn't have started it in the first place. UBA and GT Bank and CBG. Daniel, before you get me. Ladies and gentlemen, so if I have mentioned your bank, please, merchants, all you have to do is go to your bank, have your registration documents with you, and you can start receive your payments electronically.
Economist Courage Buti says government's decision to turn to the IMF for financial assistance around this time of the coronavirus pandemic is a good move. He explains there is no other option as the virus cripples economies around the world. And that's it for business. There's more coming up in 20 minutes on the marketplace, but Daniel has joined me because there's some news coming in from the Ghana Water Company. Daniel?
Exactly, Daryl. And what we are hearing is that they're going to change the billing system for the Ghana Water Company Limited. This means that they will not be based on meter readings anymore. It will be based on estimated consumption. Now, it's important, this piece of news, because it means persons will not be physically visiting homes to read meters.
That's important.
In this period where staying at home has been advised. So it's still a socially distant policy, I must say, and we'll have more on that.
Yes, I hope subsequently they will explain how the estimations are going to be done. Perhaps they would just monitor how much you spend over a period and then...
Exactly. We do have some detail on that. We understand that it will be based on consumption between January and March. As you can see there in the highlighted area, the average of their consumption from January to March 2020 has become necessary like I said, to reduce the frequency of visits by meter readers to the premises of customers in order to reduce the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic.
All right, I guess that'll be it for us both. For now, sports is up next.
Thanks for staying with us. It's time for sport, and we go straight into our first story. Now, reactions have come in following the postponement of the 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games, the world's biggest multi-sport event. Now, it was due to happen on July 24 this year, but will be held next year because of the coronavirus outbreak. Buchoin Kegbe is Ghana's first para-athlete to secure qualification, and he's disappointed the event has been rescheduled.
First time when I heard the news, it was heartbreaking for me. Not just heartbreaking because of I'm looking forward to go to the Olympics, but because of those who are also preparing, those who are putting in all efforts to qualify to Tokyo, dream has shattered. There's nothing we can do at the moment to just be strong as elite athletes, be tough in your mind. All hope is not lost. It's just opportunity for you as to get prepared again. Just do whatever you know you are doing as elite athletes and be ready for next year. I can say it has happened, and you can't control it. And these are some of the things that you can't control in your sports career. It might happen, be injury, be a sickness or everything. So it just happened. So I'm just taking it easy, just taking some time off now, like 2 or 3 weeks, and I will start preparation again, hoping to be ready anytime I'll be called on.
Now, Ghana has no boxing world title to boast of after Isaac Dogbe and Richard Comey lost their respective titles. I'm talking about the WBO Super Bantamweight title and the IBF Lightweight titles, respectively. However, many Ghanaian boxing fans in the country expect Emmanuel Tego and Wasiru Mohammed to win a world title in the not-too-distant future. Now, former IBF and IBO world champion Joseph Agbeko believes that the country can only produce more world champions if Ghanaian boxers fight one another.
During my time, I would say, even on my second professional fight, I fought the likes of Malik Jaber. Malik Jaber and I, we were both like big prospects for the nation. We were all great fighters that they see us that we can do something for the country. But they put us together. During that time, the patronage, even though people are watching boxing now, the patronage was high. The joy to go watch boxing is high because you know you are going to watch a lot of crack fights. You know, boxers are the same range of like very competitive fights because you see good boxers fighting each other, and that prepares them for the world. When you go in for the championship, it makes the battle easier for you. Nowadays, you see fighters going into fighting for world championship, and maybe their record is 22 and 1 loss. And they can match them with maybe someone with 17 fights with maybe 6 loss. And the person end up stopping our fighter with the 22 and the 1 loss. It's not good for the sport of boxing in Ghana. We have to bring a little competition into the game. We are doing too much business by, hiding this boxer from this one, protecting this one from this one, putting this one, you know, it is reducing the quality of our fighters whenever they take us outside for us to perform. So I don't see anything wrong with good fighters fighting each other now. It is just that because whenever we all get into the world stage, we feel we are fighting for our nation, we are fighting for the country. So it's kind of some way both of us are there to be able to fight for the nation, and then we end up fighting each other. So it's kind of awkward. But I think we can do it as well. It grows the sport. If, let's say, example, Isaac Dogbe and Wasiru is fighting today, believe me, it doesn't have to happen at the boxing arena. Take it to Accra Sports Stadium and the place will be filled because the boxing fans know what they want to see. And when the outside world sees such an event by Wasiru and Isaac Dogbe fighting in their home and they see how big the crowd is, that makes it, if Wasiru or Isaac Dogbe is going to fight for a championship in America, they can be able to give him a big offer because he knows he has big following behind him that they will fight or they will come and pay and watch or they will watch on TV, which is good for the sport. But if we are putting together some little fight behind closed door for our fighters, it will make the sport good. If Richard Comey and Emmanuel Tego are fighting, it's a big fight for the attention will come, international attention will come to Ghana. So I don't see those fights as wrong fight as much as I believe we are all doing it for the nation. Sometimes we should allow it small.
Well, interesting thoughts by the three-time boxing world champion there. I'll have more when I bring you Sports Today at 2 p.m. World News comes up next here on Joy News Today. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.